everyone. We are from Group A. We'll be presenting our group assignment titled A Statistical Analysis of the Correlation Between Student Habits and Academic Performance. Before we start, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Nur Afika binti Harun.
My name is Siti Zulaika binti Yunus.
My name is Nur Shahira.
My name is Mimi bin Muhammad. Today I will presenting for introduction. Student academic performance can be affected by several factors such as lifestyle, study habit, and personal responsibility. Many students today need to balance their student with part-time job and daily activities, which can make learning more challenging. This study investigate 1,000 students to understand how student time and part-time work influence their academic performance. Before the analysis, the datasets was prepared by handling missing data and checking for outliers to ensure accurate result. Statistical method were then used to examine how study time and work commitment affect student academic performance.
Okay, now I will be presenting for the data preparation 2.1 explanation of the data set 1. Our group lists information about student habits and lifestyle as well as their relationship with their academic performance, which includes 1,000 students with 16 variables identified. Our group has selected two main factors, which is part-time work and study hours for this study. For 2.1, explanation of the missing outliers, there was a parental education level column that had a blank value of 91. There were outliers in columns such as attendance percentage and sleep hours. Our group has used the interquartile range method to constrain and limit the data. So let's move to the visualization of bar graph and histogram. On the left side, we have a bar chart that's showing whether our student hold a part-time job. As you can see this, the vast majority of the students do not work part-time. The no category shows that the number of students who do have a part-time job sitting around the 350. While on the right side, it shows the distribution of student study hours, where this data clearly shows the normal bell-shaped distribution. So this indicates that most of students study for an average amount of time, with the highest peak value falling between 3.5 and 4 hours. Conversely, very few students fall into extreme ends of the spectrum, meaning very few students study less than an hour or more than 7 hours. Overall, these two graphs suggest that the majority of the students are focusing on full-time their academic without part-time jobs, and they generally can dedicate about 3.5 to 4 hours of studying. The last one for the data preparation, justification about the outliers. During the conduction of this study, there are two main issues that has been identified, which is missing data and extreme data. The 91 rows doesn't remove because it will result in the loss of critical information, which also can lead into a decreasing for statistical power, and losing almost 10% data can decrease the accuracy of our analysis in bias if the student fill out the form.
I want to explain about data analysis. This is the data, the descriptive statistics for the variable amount in the first table demonstrate that the data distributed is really symmetrical and normal. This conclusion is based on the nearly identical mean, which is 6.4701 and median 6.5000 values, as well as a near zero squeeze, which is 0.0913, and the coefficient negative 0.2192 values, which is indicate that there are no several outlets in the data. In complementing this, the coefficient value of negative 0.2192 suggests to sign factor peak compared to a perfectly normal distribution, which confirms the absence of extreme outlier or maybe fell in the dataset. Collectively, this value satisfies the assumption of normally required for subsequent parametric statistic analysis. The next is the analysis of part-time job. This is the paragraph. The t-test analysis finding for the second table compare the score of respondents who work part-time 215 and those who did not work is 785, and the p-value is 0.386 was higher than the 0.05 significant level, indicating that there was no statistically significant difference between the two groups based part-time employment status, even though the group without part-time jobs had slightly higher average score, means 69.85, that the value did mean 68.74. Okay, the analysis is the failure to reject the null hypothesis. In this study, the null hypothesis is that there is no difference between the two groups is retained. Confidently state that having a part-time job is not appear to be a determining factor for the score in the dataset. Consistency invariance, the standard deviation very similar, which is 16.95 and 16.58. This suggests that the spread of score is consistent across both groups regardless for their job status. This is a fact of sample size. Even though the no-job group is nearly 4 times large, between the job group, the t-test still failed to find a pattern. So this refines the idea that two groups remarkably similar in their performance. Next is 4.2 factors influencing the research finding. There are several other factors that can influence this result. The first one is student lifestyle such as sleep patterns, class attendance, students whose parents have higher education levels may receive better academic support at home, even if they have commitment like part-time jobs. Next is 4.3 comparative making character. Through this finding of these studies, it is found that part-time work does not have significant difference on student academic performance. Study hours is almost abnormal and show that most students have a moderate amount of study time. According to Bayer 2024, indicates that the number of study hours can improve student academic achievement, but the effectiveness of learning for a student manage their learning style. This shows that no matter how long a student studies, it does not guarantee higher academic performance if appropriate and effective learning techniques are not used. According to Baker, found that students who work more than 20 hours a week tend to show a decline in academic performance due to less time to study and attend class. This effect of part-time work can vary because the number of working hours is not specific in the study data set. Not only that, university students in Malaysia found that the interaction between the number of study hours and part-time employment overall does not affect academic performance. Students with high study hours still achieve higher scores compared to students with low study hours. And lastly, highlight implication, limitation, and recommendation. The first one is implication. The finding of this study provides several important implications for student and educational institutions. The first one is part-time work does not necessarily negatively affect academic performance if students manage time effectively. Next, study hours show an almost normal distribution, indicating most students study at a moderate and consistent level. And lastly, academic performance is influenced not only by study hours, but also by learning effectiveness and focus. For limitation, the several limitations need to be considered where imbalancing group size between students with part-time jobs and those without may affect statistical stability. Some variables rarely observe recorded data, which may introduce bias. And lastly, study hours reported by students may be inaccurate due to estimation error. And lastly, for recommendation, there are several others. As a suggestion for research, future studies should use advanced statistical analysis such as correlation and diffusion. Next, use large and more diverse data set to improve reliability. And lastly, include additional variables such as academic stress. And next is 4.3 comparative making character. Through this finding of these studies, it is found that part-time work does not have significant difference on student academic performance. Study hours is almost abnormal and show that most students have a moderate amount of study time. According to Bayer 2024, indicates that the number of study hours can improve student academic achievement, but the effectiveness of learning for a student manage their learning style. This shows that no matter how long a student studies, it does not guarantee higher academic performance recommendation for student and educational institution. The first one is part-time work does not necessarily negatively affect academic performance if students manage time effectively. Next, study hours show an almost normal distribution, indicating most students study at a moderate and consistent level. And lastly, academic performance is influenced not only by study hours, but also by learning effectiveness and focus. For limitation, the several limitations need to be considered, wherein balancing group size between students with part-time jobs and those without may affect statistical stability. Some variables rarely observe reported data, which may introduce bias. And lastly, study hours reported by students may be inaccurate due to estimation error. And lastly, for recommendation, there are several others. As a suggestion for research, future studies should use advanced statistical analysis such as correlation and reduction. Next, use large and more diverse data set to improve reliability. And lastly, include additional variables such as academic stress, mental well-being, and family support.
For point 1, evaluation of query and validity of result, the study finding consider accurate and valid because the data was cleared before analysis. Missing values were replaced with the mode and outlier were identified using the IQR method. For part-time job, the t-test show no significant difference between students who work and those who don't be equals 0.396. This means students can still maintain good academic performance if they manage their time well. For total study hour, the t-test a significant difference. Students who study longer have higher average score. P equals 0.002, indicating that study time has a positive effect on academic performance. For the conclusion, study hours are more important for academic success, while part-time work has a little impact as long as it does not interfere with study time. For the conclusion, this study analyzes the effect of study habit and employment status of the academic performance of 1,000 students. The result show a strong positive relationship between study hour and academic success, where students who study more tend to achieve better results. Meanwhile, part-time work does not have a significant negative effect on academic performance. This shows that students can still perform well even if they work part-time, especially when they have good time management. Therefore, effective time management and good study habit are important for academic success. However, this study has some limitation because the data set does not include other factors such as academic stress, mental health, and family support. As a suggestion, university can organize time management workshop to help students balance their study and part-time job.